2 times 2 times 2, the golden rule for healthy teeth. Brush twice a day for 2 minutes and have a checkup at the dentist twice a year. A simple formula that has accompanied us since childhood. But what is the reality of our dental care? Reality often paints a different picture. Most people spend just 45 seconds brushing their teeth, although studies define 120 seconds as an absolute minimum. Almost half of all adults admit to neglecting dental floss, that inconspicuous tool that holds the key to truly thorough cleaning. And those who reach for the brush immediately after enjoying acidic foods risk their tooth enamel. Over 700 species of bacteria populate our oral cavity, a complex ecosystem that needs to be kept in balance with proper care. Electric toothbrushes, it is said, are up to 3 times more effective than conventional models. And without interdental cleaning, 1/3 of the tooth surface remains unattended. Change your toothbrush every 3 to 4 months. Use fluoride with 1500 ppm for optimal caries protection, and for smokers, the risk of periodontitis is increased up to 5-fold. Numbers and recommendations that we all know, maybe even sometimes ignore. But beyond these recommendations, the fundamental question arises. Why is it actually so essential to give oral hygiene such a central role in life? What really lies behind the surface of a healthy smile? To truly grasp the significance of this question, let's go back to the late 19th century, to the laboratory of a man whose name may be familiar to only a few today, Willoughby Miller. Imagine this. In the midst of burgeoning bacteriology, in vibrant Berlin, this American dentist and microbiologist worked closely with the famous Robert Koch, the discoverer of the tuberculosis pathogen. Miller dedicated himself to a seemingly simple yet fundamental question: what actually causes caries? For centuries, tooth decay had been attributed to mystical influences or an internal putrefaction. But Miller, armed with a microscope and scientific curiosity, took a revolutionary path. And this path led him to a discovery that would change dentistry forever. For years, Miller researched to get to the bottom of the secret of caries. He meticulously analyzed dental plaque, examined the effects of various substances on tooth enamel, and tracked the metabolic processes of oral bacteria. His groundbreaking realization: caries is not a coincidence, but a highly specific chemoparasitic process. Miller showed that certain types of bacteria in the mouth convert carbohydrates into lactic acid. This acid, as he proved, dissolves the minerals from the tooth enamel and destroys it from the inside out. He recognized that this process works its way deep into the tooth's interior until the formation of the visible caries cavity. And Miller demonstrated this process is not only reproducible, but also stoppable. But what exactly is plaque? And why does it make sense to brush your teeth precisely because of it? Biologically speaking, plaque is a so-called biofilm, that is a complex microscopic community of life on our teeth. You can imagine it as an invisible city, populated by billions of bacteria of various types, embedded in a sticky matrix that they produce themselves. This matrix consists of polysaccharides, saliva components, and food debris. Plaque formation begins almost immediately after brushing your teeth. Initially, proteins from saliva deposit on the tooth surface and form a thin layer, the so-called pellicle. This is initially harmless, but serves as an anchor point for the first bacteria, the so-called pioneer bacteria. Within a few hours, other microorganisms colonize, multiply, and further strengthen the sticky matrix. Over time, a 3-dimensional biofilm develops, in which different types of bacteria cooperate to optimally adapt to their environment. A crucial advantage of this biofilm for the bacteria is protection from external influences. Although saliva contains a variety of antimicrobial substances, including more than 50 different antimicrobial peptides, antibodies such as IgA1 and IgA2, as well as enzymes like lysozyme and peroxidases that fight bacteria. But in the biofilm, the microorganisms are largely shielded. The dense structure of plaque makes it difficult for the body's defense mechanisms to reach and eliminate the bacteria. The problem is, in this protected environment, the bacteria find ideal living conditions. They feed on sugar residues from food, thrive in the warm, moist oral cavity, and multiply unhindered. Meanwhile, they excrete acids, especially lactic acid, which attacks the tooth enamel and gradually demineralizes it. This process paves the way for caries and promotes gum disease. To counteract this, it is essential to regularly remove plaque mechanically through thorough brushing and the use of dental floss. But plaque is not just the main cause of caries and gum disease, and this is where it gets really critical. Research in recent years paints an increasingly clear picture that this invisible enemy in our mouth can have far-reaching consequences for our overall health. We are no longer just talking about local problems in the oral cavity here. We are talking about a proven link with serious systemic diseases, with heart disease and even strokes. How, you might ask yourself, is something like this even possible? How can a problem that starts in our mouth have effects on seemingly distant organs like the heart or the brain? The answer is complex, but it can be simplified to two main mechanisms: chronic inflammation and so-called bacterial translocation. Imagine the following. Plaque accumulates at the gum line, and our immune system sounds the alarm. Inflammation occurs, a natural reaction of our body to fight the harmful bacteria. The problem arises when this inflammation does not subside, but becomes chronic, that is, persists permanently. In this case, inflammatory substances, experts call them cytokines, are continuously released into the bloodstream. These cytokines are like tiny messenger molecules that spread throughout the body and, figuratively speaking, can ignite small fires. They attack the inner walls of blood vessels, promote the formation of arteriosclerotic plaques, that is, those dangerous deposits that narrow arteries, and thereby increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes. It's as if a small, seemingly harmless problem in the mouth triggers a dangerous chain reaction throughout the entire organism. But there is a second way plaque can exert its harmful effect: bacterial translocation. This means that bacteria from the plaque, or even just parts of them, like fragments of their cell walls, enter the bloodstream. This happens particularly easily when the gums have become irritated and more permeable due to inflammation. These immigrated bacteria or their components can then settle in other parts of the body, on the heart valves, in the walls of blood vessels. And there, they can trigger inflammation again or exacerbate existing inflammation. It's as if the bacteria from the plaque emigrate and cause mischief in other parts of the body. In some studies, very specific types of bacteria from the oral cavity have even been detected in arteriosclerotic plaques in the arteries, a direct indication of this connection. The scientific evidence for this connection between oral health and systemic diseases is becoming increasingly overwhelming. For example, a study published in the renowned Journal of the American Heart Association showed that people with periodontitis, that is, advanced gum disease, have a significantly increased risk of heart disease. Another study, published in the Journal of Neurology, found a clear link between periodontitis and an increased risk of stroke. And researchers who published their findings in the journal Periodontology were able to show that successful treatment of periodontitis can lower inflammation levels throughout the body. It is important to emphasize, we are talking about correlations, strong indications, not a simple cause and effect principle where plaque directly triggers heart attacks or strokes. Reality, as is often the case, is more complex, an interplay of many factors. But the evidence is now so compelling that oral health is recognized as a crucial risk factor for these diseases. This may all sound worrying now, perhaps even a little overwhelming. But, and this is the crucial message, we are not helplessly exposed to these potentially far-reaching consequences of plaque. On the contrary, we have effective strategies and tools at hand to keep plaque in check, protect our oral health, and thus make an important contribution to our general health. And that's exactly what the following sections will be about, these effective strategies. We're now going to look at what we can best do about it. A 5-part routine based on the latest research can help here. Let's start with an often neglected but incredibly important tool, dental floss. Imagine washing a car but leaving out the narrow gaps between the doors and the body. That's exactly what happens when you don't use dental floss. The interdental spaces are breeding grounds for bacteria and food debris that a toothbrush simply cannot reach. A groundbreaking study from the year 2018 showed something amazing. The order makes a difference. Researchers found that using dental floss before brushing significantly reduces the amount of plaque between the teeth. The dental floss paves the way for the toothpaste so that it can unleash its full cleaning power. However, it is important to know, not every dental floss is recommended. Experts recommend wax dental floss that is free of PFAS. PFAS, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, are suspected of being harmful to health. A study from the year 2019 pointed to possible negative effects of PFAS on the immune system, so better to play it safe. Immediately following dental floss, our next tool comes into play, the oral irrigator. It's like a small, targeted shower for the mouth. The water jet effectively cleans the hard-to-reach areas along the gum line, an area where plaque particularly likes to accumulate. A comprehensive analysis from the year 2019 concluded that water flossers are superior to other methods in the treatment of gum disease. Now for the classic, brushing your teeth. Often there is a big misunderstanding here, the brushing time. Perhaps you think a few quick movements are enough, but science says otherwise. A study from the year 2012 showed that 2 to 3 minutes of brushing removes significantly more plaque than the average 45 seconds that most people invest. Longer brushing leads to significantly better cleaning, a simple but crucial difference. And which toothbrush is the right choice? Manual toothbrush or electric toothbrush? The answer from science is quite clear. As early as the year 2005, a renowned organization concluded that electric toothbrushes, especially oscillating rotating ones, remove more plaque than conventional manual toothbrushes. A more recent study from the year 2014 confirmed these findings. Simply put, the vibrations help to loosen the plaque more effectively. Let's move on to toothpaste. Here, fluoride is the undisputed hero. Fluoride is like a superhero for tooth enamel. It strengthens it and helps repair small damage. The study just mentioned also confirmed that fluoride toothpaste significantly reduces caries. Another interesting ingredient is xylitol. Xylitol is a natural sweetener that not only tastes good, but also reduces the acid production of plaque bacteria. A study from the year 2014 showed that xylitol can help prevent caries, a double shield of protection for the teeth. And finally, the fifth step, regular visits to the dentist. Sounds banal, but many put it off. These checkups are essential to remove tartar, the hardened form of plaque that you cannot remove yourself even with the best toothbrush. But oral health does not only depend on the brushing routine. What you eat and drink plays just as big a role. Sugary drinks and snacks are like fuel for plaque bacteria, and risk factors such as smoking and excessive alcohol consumption significantly increase the risk of gum disease, as a study from the year 2004 clearly showed. Finally, a look at vitamins D3 and K2. These vitamins are crucial for the absorption and utilization of calcium, the main building block of our teeth and bones. A study from the year 2022 investigated the relationship between vitamin D levels and oral health in children and found that adequate vitamin D levels were associated with better dental health. So it's worth keeping an eye on your vitamin D levels. In summary, oral health is much more than just a beautiful smile. It is a crucial factor for general health. And there is a simple but scientifically sound routine with which you can actively protect your oral health. Dental floss, before brushing, a water flosser, 2 to 3 minutes of brushing with an electric toothbrush and fluoride toothpaste, regular dental visits, and a tooth-healthy diet. A 5-point plan for a radiant smile and a healthy body. Research in this area is constantly evolving, and there is still much to discover. Future studies will hopefully provide even more detailed insights into the fascinating connections between oral health and well-being. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any new insights. Thoughts, questions, or your own experiences with oral hygiene are welcome to be shared in the comments. The links to all the studies mentioned can be found, as always, in the video description. As always, we wish everyone a long, healthy, and happy life. Until next time.